Hi, and welcome back to Focal Point AFR Talk. Great to have you in the conversation. 888-589-8840, number to call. Just a quick news item. You may have seen stories about French youths torching 1,193 cars. That's how they celebrate New Year's over there. And most of the mainstream media just refers to them as youths, as disaffected youths or whatever. These are Muslims. These are Muslim thugs that go in gangs, and they torch cars. That's how they celebrate New Year. They go torch the cars of infidels. 1,193 of them up in flames on New Year's Eve. Now, here's our winnable war moment. Here's a cool thing from Matt Drudge, by the way. Matt Drudge tweeted this out. This is Matt Drudge of the Drudge Report. This is a tweet he sent out. There will be over 3,500 killed in the USA today from abortion. No flags lowered, no presidents crying, no media hyperventilating, normal day. And obviously what he's doing is contrasting that to the response to the Sandy Hook, the elementary school shooting. Now, we had 26 killed there, innocent victims. That's terrible. It's a horrible tragedy. But Matt Drudge says, look, let's put this in perspective. We have 3,500 babies a day. Matt Drudge tweeting this out, and there's nothing done. There's no flags at half staff. You don't have any presidents calling press conferences and crying over the loss of innocent life. No media hyperventilating. Now, here is our winnable war moment for today. Another abortion clinic closed down, this one in Michigan. This is the Women's Medical Services in Muskegon, Michigan. They're boarded up by the Muskegon Fire Department because of serious violations. And there have been, according to Troy Newman of Operation Rescue, 24 abortion clinics shut down in America last year, 2012. 1991, there were 2,176 abortion clinics in America. Today, there are just 660. Nearly 70% of all surgical abortion clinics have now been closed for good. We are, ladies and gentlemen, fighting a winnable war. No time to stop. Let's grab a couple of phone calls. Let's go to Lee in Plano, Texas. Lee, you're on Focal Point with Brian Fisher. What's on your mind?
Hello.
Hey.
Getting rid of Boehner is what's on my mind. And I think I heard that there will be a vote tomorrow.
Yes.
As early as. And I wanted to ask you if you would issue a call to your to all the people who are listening to call their representatives, their local representatives, and ask them to vote against Boehner continuing as the speaker. Either Cantor or what is his name? Ryan?
Yeah, Paul Ryan. Except Paul Ryan voted with Boehner on this this $620 billion
No, not him.
tax increase.
Ryan Paul. Let's see. Ryan Paul, is that his name?
Oh, talking about Ron Paul. Well, see, Rand Paul is over in the Senate, so he couldn't be Speaker of the House. The interesting thing is, though, by the way, and I'm glad you brought this up. The interesting thing is the Constitution actually does not require that the Speaker of the House has to be a member of Congress. Doesn't have to be.
Oh, that's right. I heard that.
Yeah, they could go get Alan West from Florida. He's available now because he lost his seat because of redistricting. They can go get Alan West and bring him in to be Speaker of the House.
The reason why the Lord did not permit him to
Maybe so.
regain that seat. But,
well, anyway,
yes,
here's the number. Before you finish your thought, here's the number. If you want to call your congressman, you've just got one, so you've only got to make one phone call. You got two senators, but you've only got one representative. This is the People's House. You've got one representative in D.C. You can reach his office today, and they're there because, as Lee pointed out, they have to vote on the speaker tomorrow. They've got to decide who the speaker is tomorrow. There is going to be a vote on who the next speaker is going to be tomorrow. They got to do it before they close shop and leave town for the weekend because the new Congress convenes tomorrow. And that's the first order of business to choose somebody to run the place. So it's going to happen tomorrow. 202-224-3121. 202-224-3121. That's the Capitol switchboard. If you don't know who your representative is, they will help you find him. So you can call his office and urge them, if you're so inclined, to vote against John Boehner as Speaker of the House. I'm looking at the Drudge Report, and it's still 85-15, 272,000 votes on the Drudge Report. You can go there and vote. And this is, to me, it doesn't have any substantive meaning, but the people that are voting on this thing are the Republican base. This is the base of the Republican Party. They're going to Drudge, and they're voting against John Boehner 85-15. 272,375 people have voted on Drudge. 231,000 of them want somebody other than John Boehner as the Speaker of the House. So there's a place you can go to make your voice heard.
So if they will deluge the phone lines with calls and from people all over the United States calling in, those who are listening, if that one call in one state, one from another, I think they said it would only take 17 Republicans to
that is correct. It only takes 17 members of the House to say they're not going to vote for John Boehner, and he cannot become the next Speaker of the House because the next Speaker of the House has
that guy to the curb. I've already called, and I did not get to talk to a representative there in his office. But anyhow, I'm in the process now of calling my representative here in Texas and asking him to get that movement started there, and asking him when he votes to vote against Boehner, because Boehner has not shown leadership. And I heard last night on TV that he did not even urge House members to vote one way or the other. He just said, vote however you want to.
Yeah.
So he has not been a leader in any sense of the word.
Yeah, that's complete abdication
Very
of leadership.
disappointing, because we had high hopes that in his replacement of Pelosi, he would be a leader to take us the other direction. And he's just been, I have called more times to say, don't let Obama manipulate you. Don't go with his policies. And what they should have done, in my opinion, is to just leave the tax cuts, the Bush tax cuts, just as they were, exactly, pass that on to the Senate. And if they wanted to reject that, then it would be on Harry Reid and the senators.
Absolutely. And see, they had left town. That's another way they got played. I mean, the Senate left town. They said, we're not going to deal with it. If the House sends anything back to us, we're not going to mess with it. And so they used that as a bargaining chip with the Republicans, and they just got themselves backed into a corner. And I'm with you, Lee. Why not amend it? Put the cuts in there, the spending cuts in there you want. Send it back over to the Senate. If they don't deal with it, if they don't do their job, fine. That's up to them. That's their choice. In which case, the whole thing would have shut down, and the next Congress would have had to deal with the fiscal cliff. Again, it's these lame duck, last-minute, middle-of-the-night deals that just drive you absolutely crazy. All right, Lee, appreciate the call. It's 202-224-3121 if you want to call the Capitol Hill switchboard and let your representative know that you want somebody different than John Boehner. You can do that, 202-224-3121. And trust me, they keep track of these phone calls. They absolutely do, because they're coming from constituents. They're not going to pay any attention to you if you're not a constituent. So just call your own representative. It doesn't do any good to call Speaker Boehner's office or somebody else, but your representative is answerable to you. You're one of his constituents, and he is going to listen to you, especially if you take the trouble and effort to make a phone call. And again, Lee's right. It only takes 17 Republicans to say, I'm not going to vote for John Boehner, and he cannot become the next Speaker of the House. Speaker of the House has to get a majority of the votes. That means he's got to get to at least 218. There's 234, I think, Republicans. So if just 17 of them pledge not to vote for John Boehner, the most he can get is 217. He cannot possibly be the Speaker of the House. Now, the problem is finding somebody else to do it. Maybe it's Eric Cantor. He voted no on this monstrosity yesterday, so that's certainly an argument in his favor. I mean, there's a lot of guys there that I'd love to be the Speaker of the House. I'd love Louis Gohmert to be the Speaker of the House. I would love Tim Huelskamp to be the Speaker of the House. I would be happy to have Raul Labrador from my home state of Idaho. Well, happy to have him be the Speaker of the House. You got a lot of guys out there that are true blue conservatives. Steve King from Iowa. Let's make him Speaker. Michelle Bachmann from Minnesota. Let's make her Speaker of the House, or Speakerette, or whatever they call it. Anyway, the point is there are solid conservatives, and whether they've got the parliamentary skills or the organizational skills, that's kind of a second deal. That's another issue. I understand that you want to pick somebody and get the job done. That's fine. But let's eliminate everybody that's not a genuine true blue conservative. Let's go to Hector in Florence, South Carolina. Hector, you're on Focal Point with Brian Fisher. What's on your mind?
Happy New Year to you and Debbie and family and all. I hope you had a great Christmas and great Thanksgiving.
I sure did, Hector. Thank you very much. And Happy New Year to you.
Yeah, a long time no talk. Listen, quick comment about Boehner, and then I got another comment, and I'll be through. Boehner, he needs to find another line of work, maybe a tour bus driver in D.C. or something. You can't.
Yeah, he could take him around and show him all those museums where the roofs are going to be repaired with taxpayer dollars.
Yeah, well, maybe he can go caddy on the golf course. He seems to know that well with Obama or something, but he's going to have to find another line of work, I believe. But anyway, God says, don't put your trust in man. So you can't trust any of these stooges and shysters up there in D.C. Real quickly, I wanted to say you got a dictator and thief in office again, unfortunately, and I'm going to sum it up for everybody right now. You don't have to read another book. You don't have to take another glimpse at anything else. His main agenda, he's not as stupid as people think. He wants to turn our country into a third world country. There is going to be no middle class if it keeps on the way it's going. It's going to be the extremely poor, then the extremely rich.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And that's what he's hell-bent on. Look at what he's doing. He's cutting the military. He's cutting what he can cut. And he's saying he wants to help the middle class, but he's patting them on the back with a knife. So the other comment I wanted to make real quick is that for everybody concerned about this, if you listen to too much of this junk, you'll wound up in the nut house. I had to stand back and take a look at everything.
Hector, maybe that's what happened to the House of Representatives. Maybe they spent too much time thinking about this stuff and listening to people in the mainstream media and listening to themselves talk. Maybe they've all just gone crazy.
Well, my plan is just to trust God, give to Caesar what is Caesar's, and no matter what these bozos are doing up there. So that's the best thing we can do is trust God, no matter what goes on.
That's a good word, Hector. And, that's kind of the lesson from the book of Nehemiah, frankly, is that nation was in bad shape. That nation was in worse shape than the United States of America. I mean, the walls were broken down. The gates are burned with fire. They had absolutely no national defense whatsoever. None. Zip. And yet God was able to restore that nation and to reclaim it, because Nehemiah prays at the very beginning of his prayer, beginning of the book, he's praying to the God of heaven, a great and awesome God. What he did for Nehemiah, he can do for us. Focal Point AFR Talk.